Why would a detective release a man who had admitted to the raping and murdering of a 15-year-old schoolgirl? Dawn Ashworth was found raped and murdered in Leicester, England, in 1986. Detective David Baker identified local man Richard Buckland as a potential suspect. Richard had confessed to the policeman that he was the culprit, and the case was shut. Or so it seemed. But Detective Baker noticed some inconsistencies with Richard's story and decided to reach out to local professor Alec Jeffreys. Alec Jeffreys had pioneered a new way to uniquely identify a person using their DNA, which was called DNA profiling. And when the results came in, they shocked everybody. Despite confessing, Richard Buckland's DNA proved that he was not at the scene of the crime. This was the very first time this DNA profiling technique was used in a criminal investigation, so understandably there was a lot of skepticism. With the entire nation glued to their TVs, Detective Baker made the bold decision to release Richard Buckland from police custody. With the media scrutiny reaching boiling point, Detective Baker knew he had to take drastic action to catch the killer at hand. And what he decided to do next was unprecedented. Police took over 5,000 DNA samples from men in the local area aged from 15 to 34. After 8 painstaking months, not a single DNA sample collected matched the DNA found at the scene of the crime. Thousands of police hours and millions of taxpayers' money put to waste. Had Detective Baker's pride led to his downfall? Did he make the biggest mistake of his life by releasing Richard Buckland from custody? Well, in a remarkable turn of events, this happened. In August of 1987, a woman had overheard a man talking about how he hadn't provided his DNA sample to the police. He had instead asked another man who was from outside the local area to provide their DNA on his behalf. After this tip-off, the police had arrested the man who was in question, a married man with 2 children. This unassuming man, who spent his days working in a bakery as a cake decorator, went by the name of Colin Pitchfork. Police had analysed his DNA using the DNA profiling technique pioneered by Alec Jeffreys. And they were shocked when they realised the DNA samples were an exact match. But just wait, it gets even worse. Police had wanted to see if Colin's DNA matched the DNA found in another similar rape and murder case which occurred 4 years back. Turns out that the police hadn't just caught a killer, but a serial killer, who without the use of DNA profiling was planning to rape and kill again. Detective Baker's belief in this new way of analysing DNA had led to not just an innocent man being exonerated, but the saving of many more lives. But what made Alex Jeffreys' DNA profiling so revolutionary? Well, Jeffreys realised that 99.9% of DNA across humans is the exact same, but by focusing on the 0.1% variance across humans, you would be able to uniquely identify an individual. All that was needed was just a small sample of DNA. With DNA being made up of bases, each of us would have the same repeating pattern of bases, but what would differ would be how many times these DNA bases would repeat. Alec Jeffreys' DNA profiling is still used today to solve crimes and has genuinely transformed the world. And to think, one eavesdropper in a pub in Leicester transformed the history of science. Thank you for watching.